Welcome to English Podcasts, where language meets fun for learners of English all around the world. We're your hosts, Chris
and Sue. Join us on the journey of learning and laughter from EnglishPodcast.com, your gateway to English mastery.
Tune in for engaging discussions, vocabulary galore, and grammar made easy as we explore the world of English together.
To keep up to date with what's coming up, be sure to follow us on Instagram at english.podcasts and on YouTube at english-podcasts.
We hope you enjoy the episode, and let's get straight into it.
So grab your headphones and dive into English Podcasts. Hi Sue.
Hi Chris.
So today, two Brits are going to be talking about an American tradition that we know little about, but
this has never stopped us before.
It hasn't, no. So we're going to be talking about the American and Canadian, I think, tradition of Thanksgiving. What do you know about Thanksgiving?
Well, I actually know quite a few things about Thanksgiving because I've always been quite interested in history and culture and things. But I'm going to maybe ask you a few questions, okay? So Thanksgiving is basically to celebrate when the Pilgrims sailed from England. I'm going to ask you a few details on that, to America.
Okay.
And they had a dinner.
Right. So what my received wisdom is on this, but I've had a little look on internet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My received wisdom is that it was a group of pilgrims that sailed from Plymouth Hoe on a ship called the Mayflower in 1620 or something.
Oh, I was going to ask you that. You've just answered my question. 1620. Yeah.
Apparently. But I also read that it was actually a group of 38 English settlers aboard a ship called the Margaret, and it came in 1619.
Well, I don't know anything about this at all. From my point of view, everything I've ever read about, it was 102 people on a boat called the Mayflower that landed in a place they were to call Plymouth.
Okay.
But I think the wind blew them. I think they were hoping to go a little bit further south, but the wind blew them off track, and they ended up in what we now know as Plymouth.
Yeah. Well,
so tell me about this story. I don't know this other one.
Apparently, this group of 38 English settlers left for the New World, and they arrived in a place called Berkeley Hundred, which is in Charles City County in Virginia, by way of the James River. And they arrived on December the 4th, 1619, which sort of predates what we think. Yeah. But
I don't think these particular, because they weren't, the Pilgrims of 1620 were not the first pilgrims to go to America, that's for sure. But I think this group from the Mayflower, these are the ones who are celebrated. The group you're talking about, I don't think they're celebrated. Well, they're not known to me anyway.
I'm not sure. But yeah. It was basically the feasting was traced back to the Pilgrims and Puritans who emigrated from England.
Oh, so that's right.
I don't know whether they were persecuted or whatever.
Well, in fact, I do know. In fact, I think they're originally Dutch Pilgrims.
Okay.
Who fled Holland, and they went to England, and they sailed from Plymouth.
Okay. And this one that you're talking about landed in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And that was where the Thanksgiving was first given. So that would have been in 1622 then, wouldn't it? Because it would have probably been a year after.
Well, it was, they landed
in December, okay.
In December.
Right, I see.
Yes, yeah. So they landed in the winter. I don't think it's exactly the exact date is known.
1621.
Of 1620. And the dinner was in 1621.
Well, there seems to be a lot of, stuff about this, doesn't there?
Yes, yeah. And so what did they have for their dinner?
I don't know.
Oh, can't you guess what they ate?
They probably ate chicken.
Turkey.
Okay, and that would have been wild turkeys, I guess.
I guess. So, in fact, the Thanksgiving dinner that people celebrate, nowadays, it reflects the dinner that they had back in 1621. Turkey, corn, pumpkins, potatoes, I don't think broccoli or anything like
Probably
that.
not. A lot of people will be happy about that.
Yeah.
Not me, because I love broccoli. But anyway, yeah, apparently the first, maybe it's the Pilgrims you're talking about. They came from Leyden.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And their Thanksgiving was, in fact, for the relief of the siege of Leyden in 1574. Okay. It was a copy of that, apparently.
That's me. You're really telling me new stuff here.
And this was based on the Oktoberfest.
Yes. Yes. But I know that in England, well, the idea of having a harvest festival was a common thing in those days, where people would have a dinner to say thank you for the harvest. And I always thought the Thanksgiving dinner was very similar to that, like the harvest festival, where a thanks for the harvest.
Yeah, very possibly. Yeah. And apparently I read, and I've got not much detail about this because it's something I'm getting from my memory, is that the first Thanksgiving was also attended by a tribe of Indians, or members of a tribe of Indians.
Absolutely.
Who were invited along too.
Absolutely. Now, this is very, very controversial, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is there's a famous painting which we can show of where the Pilgrims are offering food to the Indians. And I think some people say it was the other way around.
Okay.
The Indians were offering food to the Pilgrims. Very, very controversial, because in fact the painting I'm thinking of was painted in the 19th century, and it was really history kind of rewritten, to be honest. This is the kind of popular view, but a lot of people don't celebrate Thanksgiving. It's considered a national day of mourning, because
Mourning of what?
Mourning in the sense of grief.
Yeah.
People have died.
But what are they mourning?
Because in fact they're mourning the fact that the actual reality was that the Pilgrims, they actually killed many of the Native Americans, and the Native Americans were wiped out. In fact, by various things. One actually through disease, and
Which
the
was
other
imported by them.
Absolutely, and the other one was just by murder, just by fighting.
These religious people.
Huh.
Yeah. Okay. No comment.
Yeah.
Anyway, but as we've seen, there are at least two sort of versions of when Thanksgiving started. I can give you another two as well, because apparently they say that the first one was actually by Spanish explorers in 1598 in San Elizario in Texas, and there's another one which was in Florida on the 8th of September 1565.
I think the idea
that seems to be the first one.
Yeah, I think this idea of celebrating, having a dinner of thanks was quite a common thing in Europe, really. People did it a lot. But I think the question we need to ask is, when was Thanksgiving? When did it become a national holiday, and why?
Well, I think there's been a lot of events there as well. Because I think George Washington, he sort of said that it will be one. And I think as well, just during the war or just after the war, I think it was Eisenhower, he put it as a national day.
I've got to contradict you on this. I have actually read it up.
Okay.
I'm not the fountain of all knowledge.
Right.
No, I didn't actually read it before. In fact, it was Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
In 1864, who declared this day as a national holiday because he wanted to promote national unity during American Civil War, basically.
Yeah.
So it's from Abraham Lincoln. But you're right, many dinners of thanks happened all over Europe, and I'm not surprised that settlers carried on the idea.
Yeah. And so going back to the food, before we go to the food, when is Thanksgiving? What's the date of Thanksgiving?
Well, I have it in my diary, actually. It's the last Thursday of November.
That seems to be the same date as Beaujolais Nouveau.
Oh, that's a good thing to know. I don't know why this date is important.
Okay.
Yes. I think you could be right.
Okay. Any fun facts that you know about Thanksgiving?
Well, I was going to ask you, do you know any fun jokes? Because one of the terrible things is that I think it was, I don't know, I think Ronald Reagan, and in fact, it was George Bush, I corrected myself. He started the tradition of pardoning 2 turkeys
Mhm.
out of like the 44 million turkeys that are going to be
Mm.
slaughtered is the only word I can think of.
Yeah, it's a PR exercise.
Yeah,
isn't
it's totally PR exercise. And they have names, I don't know, Gobble and something
Yeah,
with it.
good.
And and the president appears in a good light and he makes some turkey jokes and but I can't
Do you know a
think.
turkey joke?
I don't
Nor do
actually. They went in one ear and really out the other.
Yeah.
But they're kind of typical dad jokes, play on words.
So it's celebrated in the States.
Yes.
I guess in all the states, Hawaii included, I would imagine.
I would imagine.
But I think it's also celebrated in Canada, but not at the same time.
I'm not up on Canada actually.
Okay. Well, I think they do a Thanksgiving. I think it's more or less the same thing, and I think it's like the States. They have turkey, which is the main thing. Pumpkin pie is quite a staple. Potatoes and gravy, and they also make what they call a stuffing, but it's not quite the stuffing that we know. Made from bread, etc. And it's all supposed to be sort of symbolic of the things that the first, whichever one, choose, between 1565 and 1619.
Plenty of dinners.
Or 21.
Plenty of dinners between time.
Yeah, but I think it's like a lot of sort of historical events like this. It's very much contested, and there are different versions, etc. We've got over 100 years between them.
Sure.
But, yeah. So to all the Americans that are going to be celebrating Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. Do we say happy Thanksgiving?
Oh, we could do it now. Yeah.
Okay. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Chris. And don't forget, if you want to check any of these facts, we have a quiz called How to Understand Thanksgiving. And it's a fantastic quiz, lots of information.
And this is on english-podcast.com.
Absolutely. And it's a really good way to consolidate your knowledge and your vocabulary.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review.
To catch all the latest from English podcasts, you can follow us on Instagram at english.podcasts and on YouTube at English-podcasts.
And visit our website at english-podcast.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.